Hello everyone, good evening. This is Diaspora Network. Always great to be here to share some information, to see a few things. Um, I always try to inspire to motivate people by saying that we should all be positive in life. Okay, stay focused, stay steadfast. Don't lose focus, don't lose hope. Always try to look at the positive type of things. Always the positive side of things. Um, I would say, just a moment, please. Um, the world is full of negativity. It's full of things that can distract you from your dreams or from your visions. But always try to be in perspective to see the good side of things. Whether they say a cup half filled, a cup half empty. If you look at it, they are the same, but in a different position of the state of mind. So it is crucial that okay, it is crucial that we always look at things in a positive side. The year I just started, okay, I would say, guys, yeah, last year was for you to say it was like this, like that, up and down, but learn from it and make this year better. Okay, learn from it and make this year better. That is what I'm going to say. Learn from it and make this year better. Well, for no one, okay, we should endeavor to cherish the goodness um, that your nation or the earth offers. Okay, so just to cherish the goodness first. It's important to cherish the goodness. All right, it's so important to cherish the goodness. Recognize, uh, recognize the manifestation of God's blessings. God has blessed us. Okay, God has blessed us. Really, God has blessed us. So recognize that blessing first. It's important to recognize that blessing. Recognize the goodness of where you are, you know, the nature, recognize it. And when you recognize something, that is what that to be will attract to you. All right. This is just a way from to say good evening to everyone and have a good perspective of life. Of this year will be better than last year. And for sure, we are surrounded by abundant blessings, irrespective of the evil that's happening everywhere. But we are surrounded with abundant blessings, okay? Have that in your mind, back of your mind throughout this year. Okay. It's what you have in your mind that you can read, that can come to you, okay? That can come to you. That can come to you. Thanks just for us for this evening, okay? Anyway, this has been happening and please as you watch, can you like, share, comment is important that is done. It's important we do that. We talk of better gate. That's what has been the method this evening. Better gate. I mean, not it's been trending everywhere, but you do not agree with me. I don't know. Maybe it's going to fight it back against her. Who knows? But all the same, she was in EFCC. It was with the EFCC today, and also get to know what this is the world of what is going on. There are some people. I heard the MD CEO of Zenith Bank Another banks has been called by EFCC. That was, I think, this evening or so. But before I go to that, Tinubu has, I think he has been hearing that people have been complaining of his entourage and the rest. He has slashed his entourage, and that is 60%, which is good news. At least the country that is struggling for is borrowing and consuming. So it is good. So let's have a kind of let's see what is going to happen. Okay, well, today I will let's see what he did with the cost of there was an interview with TVC. Let's just watch it. We'll come back. We'll talk about the Betta Gate. Went to EFCC this morning. And what happened this evening? At the head, I saw a video that arrests have been, warrants have been given for the MD CEO of Zenith Bank and some other banks for them to be arrested or questioned rather. Okay. Okay, let's just listen to this TVC news. Let's hear what this analysis, okay, at least for them to cut the costs, okay? That is good news, at least.
Slashing the expenditure of official travels
Okay.
for domestic and international by 60%.
So this has been a study, the consequence of a diagnostic that was conducted on the entourages that have gone to previous foreign trips. It is based on an assessment of the cost to the federal government of these massive entourages that have gone. And on the basis of that study, the president concluded that in line with his pledge to uphold the highest standards of prudence and effective and efficient management of the Commonwealth of our people, that he is going to take decisive action. I would remind any of our viewers that this is coming as a result of several prior conversations Mr. President has had, even with the cabinet. A few sessions of the Federal Executive Council meetings ago, the President laid out to the Federal Executive Council in the meeting that anyone that is found to be traveling on official trips where they do not have an official function or engagement, that they will be punished. In fact, he was specific in saying that they can lose their jobs. So this is something he has been discussing for a while. What we have just done now is to conclude on the study that was done, and on the basis of that, implement a detailed program, a detailed policy directive that's very clear with respect to how many people will go where and how that will work. And ultimately, we believe that if we are asking Nigerians to cut costs, that we must do so with our example, and that's the position of the president.
Okay, in terms of the details and in terms of cutting costs, but let's talk about cutting costs first before we get to the details. Are we likely to see this also being proposed to the National Assembly, where a lot of Nigerians, have been pointing accusing fingers in terms of their spending and over bloated budget?
Well, I think this is very specific in dealing with, there are larger cost-cutting measures that are still going to be taken. This is not the last one. This is just one of the initial ones. And I think what this deals with specifically is the issue of official trips and the cost of travel by government delegations. I don't think the National Assembly is usually known to be traveling on, a lot of official trips in numerous delegations. I don't think that's really the issue. I think their issue is more about how funds expended by their institutions is being expended with respect to constituency projects, with respect to whether or not they're providing effective oversight over the executive branch of government. I think there's a conversation certainly to be had about what adjustments they need to make. But what we do know is that within the executive branch, which is obviously a large operation with hundreds of ministries, departments, and agencies, and thousands of officials that have to travel abroad and locally within the country for various official engagements that are most times absolutely necessary. What we want to do is ensure that we cut the fat off the meat. We want to make sure that as much as humanly possible, those who are traveling on trips are not simply staying in hotels and running up room service bills and buying business class tickets on the government dime, but that they are going to conduct government business that is in the interest of the Nigerian people and that moves forward the president's agenda on economic growth and recovery. And anything that is not achieving that purpose is being cut off, which is why I think the president very importantly and very wisely decided that, look, we are not simply telling the MDAs to do what we're not willing to do. This is going to start from the office of the president himself. He's saying that my staff will be affected by this. The staff of my wife will be affected by this. The staff of my vice president will be affected by this. So he is setting the example for the rest of the executive administration to follow. And with, I think, the very serious cuts he has put in place, in addition to the recent measures he has put forth to deal with, any lack of prudence in the management of public resources. I think Nigerians understand that this is a president they've elected that is very serious and that is ready to put action to his words. And that's exactly what he has done yet once again today.
So we'll see how the ministers, the presidency and the ministers and the executive directors of these agencies follow through this particular directive. Thank you so much for your time, as always. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, I pray that at least they say they're calling the cost, okay? Let's just hope that it goes through, all right? So the cost, I think the encourage those people that went to the UAE, Dubai, with Tinubu, 1,000 something, I forgot. You can see the encourage, waste of money. And the good of cost, I pray, let's start from there, okay? They should be frank with it anyway. And the national assembly to cut that cost. Let's see what will happen. Because enough is enough. I saw the entourage was going to Lagos. Man, these are waste of money. So let's the writing is done, okay? That's what I'm going to stay. Let's do the writing is done. And that is it. Yeah, guys. Um, um what have been trending? Better Edu, Better Edu, Better Edu. It's just a pity, it's painful. I mean, I feel the pain, although I'm not. I know this regime came to power through a stolen mandate. She was a young, a young woman or a young lady that would think, can bring up a right for the youth. It's okay. The youth are ready to take up something. But the system really, when the head is bad, the head is not good. What do you expect the body to be? That is the truth, okay? Now again, what I don't really know. Maybe she made some mistakes, okay? But maybe corruption is fighting against her right now because the system is so corrupt. Maybe she step on toes. I don't know. Okay, anything is possible. Anything is possible. What I'm trying to say. I go to Excellency Peter. He said, if the head is good, the problem will be solved at least 60%. Because when your head is good, it's not giving contract to his family or to stealing money. It's not wasting money. The people that he will not, they will not. at least for 60%, this problem will be solved. Before you know it, 2, 3, 4 years, the system will normalize, everything will be okay. But when you see the president with entourage, they are approving billions of naira for renovation of houses, buying SUVs, what do you think people will do? That means it's a gang, even if Betta Edu um, is a young lady, that means she will follow suit too, because they are in the same camp. They are in the same, they're the same camp. But I was thinking maybe she will do it would be otherwise. But I have to give her benefit of the doubt, seriously, man. Maybe it was just uh, maybe it was just maybe she made a mistake and they capitalized on it to 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 really deal with her. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know for now. But it's a shame, it's a pity that a young person like that will be involved with. I thought, this is one thing it doesn't matter. It's a youth. What of Jaya Bello of Kogi State? That guy is a youth also, man. But he went there to, it was even worse. He had killings and arrests and thuggery. These things are uncalled for. We need to. I was thinking some should have in position. We take the advantage to encourage other youths, to do the same, to follow the right path, to make the country better. Because the people that are in power right now, they have been in power when we were very small, over 50 years ago. They've been in power. They are changing from minister of this one, they will be governor, for governor to Senate to come back to the government to be able to cancel law. They just been in power, rotating themselves, going, switching, you know, doing all those stuff, doing all those stuff. So it's just a pity and it's painful to see that the so-called youth, they are following the steps of those people. Whereas I've said they are following the people at the top, because the top is correct. If you had somebody that is good, that is good, the problem is solved. That is 60%. That is the truth. Okay. Well, Betta Edu was suspended yesterday. He tried to see the president, but he was denied. She was denied access. Her card was taken from her. Her access card to the presidency was taken from her, and they said, which is okay, which is cool. I mean, everything should be done. Really, I mean, it should be. We have to know the source for this problem, the source of these things, man. Because the former minister have stole millions, billions, or rather, then they are just stealing and stealing and stealing. This money is meant for because it's a ministry of material affairs. So that means it's for masses, people that are suffering. So it's painful to see people are stealing billions, stealing billions, stealing billions. I hope she's able to defend herself. I hope she's able to, because even the foreign minister, look, why I'm a bit skeptical about this is Halima removed 44 billion, about 44 billion naira to her personal account under 5 days. And she said it was a mistake. How can you mistakenly do that? Then that was not how she now implicate Edu by saying that she saw her withdrawing money. That was why she quickly took that money. It means it was a mistake. It was a deliberate attempt. You took it and you took it to your personal account, you shared to different accounts. When the EFCC, I'm sure they are still tracing the monies, there are recovering some monies. Man, these are young people. It's painful to hear this stuff. It's painful. We're taking, these people they felt the pains of the youth. They felt the pains of the masses in Nigeria. They felt the pains of people in Nigeria. They felt the pains of women, of retired civil servants. I thought they've felt it, but they are not. That's why for me it's just so painful just to hear all this stuff going on. And anyway, the truth will be, let the truth come out. Okay. Well, I hope the EFCC will do the needful. I hope they will do the needful. Okay, that's what I would say. Yeah, Betta Edu was he was in EFCC was AFCC. Oh God,
The
that's for
elevation Betta
sure.
Edu by President Buhari on Monday. The suspended minister has arrived at the headquarters of the Economic and
So
Financial
this was
Crimes
this morning,
Division
okay?
as the anti-graft agents invited her for
This
questioning
was this morning.
shortly after the presidency announced her suspension. She was brought in at exactly 11 a.m. in a black Land Cruiser Prado Jeep with no number plate, with a white Toyota Hilux backup also without a number plate. Ms. Edu will respond to questions over alleged payment of 585 million naira grant meant for vulnerable groups in Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Ogun, and Lagos State into private accounts. The former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Sadiya Umar, will also return to the EFCC headquarters today for further questioning on the affairs of the ministry when she was in office. Now let's bring in TVC News senior correspondent Joke Adisa, who joins me from the EFCC headquarters in Abuja to bring us up to speed on latest developments. Good to have you join us on the news at this time. It's been a series of back and forth since the suspension of the minister. What can you tell us about today's investigation?
Well, it's the day after Mr. President's suspension of the minister, and as expected, she has come to honor the invitation of the Anti-Graft Commission. From the information that we gathered, the commission wrote to her to appear before it as soon as possible, and I think she also heeded to that call. And this morning at exactly 11 a.m. she did arrive at the headquarters of the EFCC. We are at this position because the commission would not allow us to stay anywhere close to their headquarters. Even the shots we had to actually kind of use our phone. So what we had was amateur video, because they would not allow us even come near. You see a lot of screen of vehicles and all that before people are allowed access onto that road. But as early as 9, like I said, we were here, and also we were for barely 2 hours after we saw her coming, we were able to use our phone to get our arrival. And so I've also asked the spokesman of the commission, who actually confirmed that yes, she's in their custody now, and that a team of interrogators are attending to her. We do not know for how long this investigation will last, but like we saw yesterday, the former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, our predecessor, spent like 12 hours. So we do not know how long ours will take, but we will still be here. We are waiting to see when they will be done with her and see what more we can get as far as this investigation is concerned. What Mr. President has said is that the committee that has been set up, led by the Minister of the Coordinating Minister of the Economy and the Minister of Finance, that they should conduct a thorough investigation. And so this has started. So I'm sure Nigerians are eager to see what the outcome will be. And one thing with corrupt charges as these, corrupt allegations as these, is that Nigerians want to see an end, a smooth end to all these allegations too, so that somebody somewhere, of course, will be penalized, will be prosecuted, and justice will be served. So this is what Nigerians are hoping to get at the end of this matter. It's not about the sensationalism that has attracted in the last few hours. It is about having the headway so that Nigerians, it can serve, as a deterrent to others.
All right, okay. I will agree with you that Nigerians are interested in the outcome of this investigation. But of course, it's also important to, if you have visited our office, I mean the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, can you talk to us about what the mood was like, probably in your visit yesterday or today?
Yes, this morning, as in cases like this, you have people discuss the development undertones. Nobody wants to come out and speak publicly about the development. You have those that are for the minister, the suspended minister, and you have those that, of course, will not like our ways. And so it's mixed feelings. The permanent secretary of that ministry is in charge now until maybe probably the outcome of the investigation or Mr. President deals his fit. To bring in a new minister, and so among staff, among workers in the ministry, they are just speaking in low tones. Everybody is just wondering,
Okay,
dissecting
thank you, Joke.
the
That's
information
what I wanted
that
to
they have.
also hear. Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear. Anyways, we'll bring you for more updates on this in our subsequent bulletins. TVC News and our correspondent Joke Adisa live for us at the EFCC.
Yeah, that was in the morning, okay, when she appeared at the EFCC office, okay. Now I will play a short video again on when she, this evening, okay, is, well, that's part of life, man. It's part of life. That's how it is. That is how, when you have the, when you have opportunity to serve, do it well, okay? It's important to do, you do it. It's very important that you do it well. That's what I will say, okay? Because you can never know. You can never know, man. You can never know. Wow. That is it. Then this is power. It will, okay. Then this happened this evening. Where is it? Safe? I'm supposed to have it now. If I see it, I play it. Okay. If I see it, I play it. I will definitely see it. Well, I don't know what happened. Why? Maybe I just looked at it. Okay, because this was in the evening. The first video I played was in the morning. Okay, I wanted to play the video of what happened this evening. I mean, the report of this evening, rather. Okay, I wanted to play the report of this evening, but if I see it, I will play it. But all the same, I think after the interrogation with Betta Edu, I saw a video that the CEO of the Zenith Bank and other banks have been invited to see the EFCC. Okay, that means it's not being right. It's are good, really, man, for accountability. But anything you are doing, anything you want to do, we'll be very careful. Even the minister of the interior minister have been summoned by Tinubu to come because the company he owns the company. You know, he's a part of the director of the company, but he said he was no longer a signatory to that in that company. But anyway, we know in Nigeria, we know these things are happening. They're happening. So they are happening. But these senators, all these people, they have companies. People are fronting for them. People are fronting for them. They take contracts. They have a contract to themselves indirectly. We know this stuff. So we need someone that will fix all this system. This is corruption of the highest order. You are a senator, which you are not supposed to have a company, and then you build a contract. But now you put your cronies there. You have a company, you put your cronies there, your people there, then you give them the contract. Then the people that are supposed to be having the contract, they won't. They won't. You you are a contractor, you are the one signing, giving out the contract, you are the one. It's painful, man. It's painful. That's why we need somebody tough to be the head. To be the head. When somebody tough is to be the head, they would not be awarding contract to girlfriends, boyfriend, sisters, cousins, and all those stuff. All this stuff will stop. It will stop. Yeah, it will stop. And it is enough. For how long can Nigerian people be suffering, man? This is not right. This is not fair. It's not right. It's not fair. It's not just not right. For how long, man? This is not just good. Okay? It's not just good at all. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. Anyway, it's painful. So it's painful, and that this how Nigeria is just this is how it is right now. It's painful, really. It's painful. It's painful, man. What somebody was saying Betta Edu is a youth. So now the youth now they are feeling us. Even they have him myself, she looks young, that they are feeling us. I have said we should not judge youth because of those people. No, don't judge the youth because they really, if the head is good, whether youth or not youth, the body will be better. Yeah. If the head is good, we'll have a good result. We'll have a good result. That is just the problem. That is the thing. The head should be good. The head should be good. The head is good, man. We don't need to suffer ourselves, man. We don't need to suffer ourselves. We don't need better. I don't know. Maybe he advised some people. I don't know what to say. Let's wait for the EFCC to do that job. To do that job. I pray they do it very well, thoroughly. Anybody they are cronies they are using, they all should go in. All of them. All of them. Whatever. Okay. Now going back to that video I saw that said that EFCC has invited the CEO of Zenith Bank and other banks. Okay. I think let me just play it. It's from Aisha Yusuf. Okay. She made the video this evening. Okay. Let's listen to her. Let's watch. Let's watch what she said. Okay. Let's listen to her.
News happening right now. People's Gazette is reporting that EFCC arrests Zenith, Providus, Jaiz CEOs over involvement in Betta Edu Sadia Umar Farouk alleged fraud. And so let me go on and read it. It said the CEOs of Zenith, Providus, and Jaiz Banks have been apprehended by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) in connection with financial misappropriation and fraud linked to disgraced Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, and her predecessor, Sadia Umar Farouk. The banking executives, who have been under still scrutiny since the public outcry over the unscrupulous diversion of public funds into private accounts, are now in EFCC custody. Multiple credible sources within the presidency told People's Gazette on Tuesday. The anti-graft agency is presently probing numerous instances of substantial public funds directed into private accounts and actions sanctioned by Ms. Edu and Farouk using their position as ministers. Ms. Farouk, who oversaw the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development under the previous administration, is also under investigation for the mismanagement of at least 37 billion in public funds designated for the conditional cash transfer program of the then President Muhammadu Buhari. The large-scale movement of funds into private accounts was partly facilitated by a potential deliberate oversight in flagging suspicious transactions, a responsibility banks bear under various anti-financial crime laws and central bank directives, the sources told the Gazette. The banks did not immediately respond to the Gazette's request for comments regarding their CEO's detention. EFCC spokesman Dele Oyewale sidestepped inquiry into the matter. Meanwhile, Ms. Edu has said her hands are clean and she's committed to fighting corruption amid the uproar over her illegal request to wire funds into a private account. Ms. Edu made this statement in a Facebook post she addressed to Empower beneficiaries. And a whole lot more. Let me just stop there. It's all Nigeria. All sorts of this thing. Of course, banks. Well, let's see how this goes.
That was the what is this night that EFCC has arrested the CEO of those banks. Okay. Anyway, that is how it is. Okay, that's how it is, man. People are just making money. They're counting billions, billions, billions. People are hungry. Some people cannot just really eat. Public funds are just being wasted. This is not right. It's not just fair. It's not fair. It's not just fair. It's too bad. Damn too bad. Okay. That's we pray the system, the blueprint of the system. Okay. Right. Man. That's how it is. Anyway, I'm still talking on. We're still going. I'm still on the better gate. Okay, we're still on the better gate. That is. Let's listen to what is happening right now. What is going on? What is going on? What is going on?
Have been made of the 585 million naira controversy and the fact that the suspended National Coordinator, Social Investment Program Agency, Halima Sheu, blew the whistle. Now, who is the saint and who is the sinner? 44 billion naira traced and returned, and then the allegation of 585 million naira money paid into a personal account by the suspended Minister Betta Edu, which the Accountant General of the Federation has clarified that the request was not honored.
Who is the saint? Who is the sinner? That's the question. Who is the saint? Who is the sinner? Is somebody stole?
And meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has slashed the expenditure of all official travels, both domestic and international, by 60%. This development was announced by presidential spokesman during Gilali at the Villa.
I'll play this on the
part
phone.
of court.
The truth is that who is the saint? Who is the sinner? Somebody stole 44 billion naira into her personal account. When she was caught, she was not saying the minister was trying to steal money for 50 million. And now people are not castigating her. Who is the saint? Who is the sinner? And meanwhile, the Accountant General did not approve the transfer into the personal accounts. So let's watch and see what's going to happen. This is a power play. Somebody was able to see 44 billion naira into her personal account under 5 days. We'll see what will happen anyway. We'll see what will happen. But it's painful. It's just too bad. And what do we do? What do we do? Anyway, let's go to the famous Arise people. I like them for that analysis. With I want to go back to analysis. Let's go to that analysis, okay? Let's go to the analysis. So that, sorry, let me go back to this. Let me go back to these people, okay? Let's listen to them, to the analysis, okay? Wow. Nigeria, we hate the...
Involving Halima Shehu.
Well, don't let us jump to conclusions yet, because I saw your promo now saying, who is the saint, who is the sinner? Nobody is a saint yet. Nobody is a sinner yet. These women are still under investigation. So we need to keep our fingers crossed until the EFCC completes its investigation and then tells us this is their finding. So we have to give all of them the benefit of doubt before we rush to judgment. That is my advice. Don't let us rush to judgment. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's be patient and await the outcome of the EFCC investigation.
Of course, the assumption of innocence until proven guilty, that's the law. But we see that Betta Edu has been suspended. We also know that the Interior Minister, Tunji Ojo, had a private meeting with President Tinubu today. But some may say that, look, they are not the same thing. And in fact, that he had resigned from that company, which is now being looked at. But for a lot of people, it is the way in which he got the contract that is in focus. What is likely to happen to Tunji Ojo?
He has done it several times since he came in. He suspended Emefiele from office because he was under probe. He suspended Rashid Bawa from EFCC, similarly because he was under probe. I think it's normal. It's a normal routine. When you're investigating anyone who's occupying an executive position, the first thing is that that person must stand down from where the person is so that investigation can be conducted unfettered. So that's the approach of the Mr. President.
But is Tunji Ojo also being investigated? What is likely to happen to him?
I'm not aware of that yet. I've been following what people are writing about him in the social media, all kinds of accusations. I think yesterday I saw him on Chanel's TV responding to some of those things. I'm not aware that any investigation has been called, instituted to probe him or to do anything, nothing like that as of now.
And with Betta Edu being suspended, what code of conduct do we expect political appointees to uphold and be held by?
Well, I think, you see, at the retreat of ministers, I think it was in November, the retreat touched on a lot of issues about the program of our party, about the program of government, and also a special session on all these financial regulations and the way ministers should handle their offices, their relationship with permanent secretaries, and those who are really the establishment. So I think they were giving all these guidelines, and they already know they were giving all these blueprints about how to work within the system. I think anyone who attended that seminar, that retreat, should have been well guided, and should not be having the kind of problem you're having today.
I will get to that in just a moment, but let's talk about the coordinating minister for the economy, Wale Edun, who has now been tasked with conducting investigation and then setting up a panel and some kind of audit to ascertain the inflows and outflows coming out from this all too sensitive ministry. What do you think is likely to happen?
No, you see, what has happened with everything we have been reading in the media is that there are some loose ends in the financial regulations in government, especially with some of the agencies. You see, the TSA, the Treasury Single Bill, the TSA, Treasury Single Accounts, was supposed to cover all that. But people forget that the TS is actually an open band. Every ministry or parastatal has its own account and operates its own account within the TSA framework. So, but now what they find that because people have the license to operate their own account within the TSA structure, there must be some rules, maybe about the kind of money you can move around, move out of the place, or things like that. Maybe you need to get some approval to do certain things. I think that's what the president has seen. Don't forget, our president is an accountant, and he is worried. He's very concerned to make sure that at least certain measures are put in place now to make sure that we don't have the kind of things we've read in the papers, like the woman in SIPA moving out billions of naira from the TSA. The president wants to stop all that, and that's why he set up. He asked Mr. Betta Edu, who is the coordinating minister, to do certain things to ensure that we don't have such outflows again.
And I like that you said there are rules, and I want us to talk about those rules, because Betta Edu is a 37-year-old woman with a very promising career. You would say that even in the thick of all of these, groups have continued to commend her. Some have even referred to her as Miss Integrity. She and her aides have come out to talk about the fact that there was no wrongdoing. But let's talk about the civil service rules. How does it work? Can you pay the sum of 585 million naira into somebody's account?
Well, as far as I know, no minister can sign out such amount of money, 500 and something million. What I found strange in what Mr. Edu was accused of was that the paper in circulation bore a signature. Everybody who has ever worked in government will know that that's not correct, that's not normal. That paper ought to have been initiated by the permanent secretary in that ministry, or if the permanent secretary is not there, the director of finance and administration. It's not the business of any minister to sign anything about money. The PAMSEC can advise, can raise a memo, or you need to pay X, Y, Z, and then the minister can now, just on top of paper, approved for payment, because they will need his approval for payment. That's what the rule says. So nobody can, and then you cannot pay government money into a private account. Everybody knows that it is wrong, unless perhaps that private account is your contractor, and it ought to have been approved, pre-approved somewhere before you can ever pay it. So those are the things that people see that are not normal, and that in fact that's why I said these issues are being investigated by the EFCC.
Ms. Adoniga, when you said earlier that there is no saint or no sinner, and you've also now mentioned the fact that her signature was on that document, which is not normal, isn't that already an indication of wrongdoing, in your opinion?
No, it's not. Because, as I said, let me tell you something. Mrs. Edu is new in government. And maybe she did a lot of these things innocently. As I said, you need to give her some benefit of doubt. You need to give all those people who have been accused of one form of malpractice or the other a benefit. They may have reasons for what they did. For instance, I've heard that the SIPA woman is saying that, he was trying to help the country in moving the money. Let her tell her story to the EFCC. And the EFCC believes the story. This is what they're going to report back to Mr. President. So let's give them, let's not, you see, you can't continue to judge people in the media. Let the agencies of government do their investigation, and then they will report what their findings to the authorities that set them up.
And you talked earlier about that ministerial retreat, and I said we were going to get back to it because we know that it will look like President Tinubu is tightening the noose around the necks of his appointed aides and ministers. We've seen what he's done with the EFCC, the CBN. Even just now, Betta Edu. He looks like he's demonstrating that no table will be left unturned. But so where do you think that this investigation is going to go? Some people believe that, look, it's all going to be smoke, and at the end of the day, it will billow out.
No, it's not. Don't fish. The president made it very clear that those who are going to be in his government going forward, that they begin to show themselves this quarter, the first quarter of the year. So he has already given them a kind of a timeline either to perform or to shape out. So what he has done by suspending Halima Shehu, by suspending Betta Edu, there are strong signals that his government will not allow all kinds of shenanigans to go on, that is serious about stopping all this nonsense that happening, which, under some time ago, there are things like this happening in government, and nothing was done to when people make allegations, or somebody has done this, somebody has done that, but he wants to make a difference. This is a new year, and he's been saying along that he's trying to learn the ropes. I think he's signaling to people that, he has now left the learning process and really wants to take full control and make sure that the ship of government is well on course.
This is one development that Nigerians are quite interested in, and they're looking to see if the outcome will be transparent, irrespective of who is declared guilty or not. Thank you so much for talking to us, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Abayo Onanuga.
Man, Betta Edu, for me, as I've said, as you just said, let's give a benefit of the doubt. Let's see what will come up. It's painful. A youth like that be involved in such, but let us watch and see. I'm not going to be doing that for now, personally, until we see. Until we see. Okay. Until we see. I understand. Let's to arise. I don't want to say to beat again too. Then there's a video of Wike and Fubara. But before then, let's go to this better gates thing. Okay, let's go to this better gate. It's just it's shameful, really shameful. I would say it's shameful, but what do you expect? What do you really expect, Joseph? What do you expect, man? What do you expect? Let's see to arise and use it a bit. Let's see to them. Fine, carry on. Wait.
Case of Dr. Peju Ugomba, yes. That he stood solidly by and he fought to a certain position. So we cannot forget Rukera's work, and commendations to him as he takes time out. He'll definitely do other things in his life. But moving on now to the Betta case. I mean, kudos to President Tinubu on this for taking decisive action. I was reporting yesterday when you were saying, that by this time, Betta should have been suspended, just also in fairness, just like the other lady was suspended, Halima Shehu was suspended. But for me, what I even thought that if there was even any sanctity, a modicum of sanctity, Betta ought to have, resigned over the weekend. It wasn't even supposed to get to the point of Monday where she was trying to seek an audience with President Tinubu and he rebuffed her. And good one there. I mean, she ought to have resigned. She's no spring chicken in the civil service. She was former commissioner, so she should know how procurement goes. So these are things that and she didn't deny it. So the allegations, the paper that came out, Betta did not deny it. In fact, she justified it that she wanted to use that money, for executing some projects there. That's why she sent it to a private account, which you'll be able to read from the law that it's a gross violation in the first place. So if there was any modicum of sanctity, it ought not even have gotten to the president now suspending that before you know that definitely you will be suspended one way or the other. There's no how. And I'm happy that Onwatch has gone ahead to face the EFCC. And they should also carry out a forensic audit and a swipe through. Minister Wale Edu is going to lead the pack on that. is going to look at all of these ministries with scrutiny, and we expect a logical conclusion. Concerning the humanitarian minister, I saw yesterday when he was coming to justify the argument. I don't think the interior minister, I don't think the argument is justified. At first, I praised him for the good work he's done as regards the passport and all of that he took us through, and we saw some of it. But there's no justification. You are a shareholder in the company. Yeah, you resigned as a director in 2019. You were able to state that, but you are still a shareholder in the company. So at the end of the year, when they share profits in that company, that proceed of 420-something million, whatever issue for the contract, is going to be part of your profit and loss account. And it comes to you. In other part of the world, if you're a shareholder like that, you probably put it in a trust. That's what you do. Did he put it in a trust that we didn't know about? But he's still bearing him as a shareholder in the company. So we would like to get more clarity as regards that. And why is it that the contagion effect is so much that this minister, his company has any dealing, was given that contract? I would like to even see the tender for that contract in the first place. What is the due process that was followed? And at some point, Madam Obi Ezekwesili was leading due process in President Olusegun Obasanjo's cabinet. What due process was followed? I mean, obviously, the trails were there. Mr. Tunji Ojo had a thing to do with this company, and this company became a government contractor all of a sudden. And he was saying, oh, if I give somebody a job in my interior ministry, that's the breach. No. As long as any job is coming out of that President Tinubu's cabinet, and you're a minister and it's coming to your company, it is a breach. Because I saw a lot of these arguments. I would like to have him on this show. Let us debate those things. Let's for rounded conversations this morning. You are still a shareholder of the company. Secondly, you are saying it's not a breach because the company dealt with the humanitarian ministry. If you gave them job in interior, hell no. As long as you serve in that cabinet and it's remotely close to you, it becomes a breach. Look at Trump being eviscerated in America because Trump's organization got monies close to $6 or $7 million from various foreign companies as president. And he was still running those businesses. So that's the breach. So we would like to have him here to talk more about this matter. And other people too that have been named in this contagious effect. We would like to ask, what was the accountability of even the job done? Who even audited the job done in the first place? And that's why I said yesterday, I said something very profound, that this administration reek of the excreta of corruption. I deliberately used that word. Because this administration that is saying Buhari's government, they didn't leave anything there. Hitherto there was corruption and all of that. So how about you? And this is just one fell swoop. 2 people in the humanitarian ministry. And that's why I keep calling. Yes, I know you were saying federal government can still run interventionist schemes without, humanitarian ministry. In fact, the best run interventionist schemes are run in consonance with international aid agencies. Those are the best run interventionist schemes in this country. A great example, you didn't need the humanitarian ministry to be able to run, things like access to education that is done by all these foreign bodies, even vaccination and things like that. There was a rural body in the Ministry of Health that ran that. But when you look at it closely, the best of this scheme that are run with these international best practices, global acceptable standards, are run in partnership with international bodies. So what the government should do, rather than this frivolous money that we know they are sharing around now, is there are many things that all these international bodies need counterpart funding on the government for. Take, for instance, there's something UNICEF have been talking for a while. Nutrition for malnourished children between the ages of 0 to 5. The government and the states needs to put a lot of counterpart funding. How can you give them nutritional tablets for them to be able to take? So let those things be accordance with the goal of, social development or, sustainable development goals. And that's the way you can run it effectively, so that you have an accountability partner. And it's obvious. You see, when we're talking then, when the World Bank was saying, no, the register is verified and all of that, it's obvious that we knew that they might be local shenanigans. Only to think that most of these monies are even borrowed in the first place. Were we not taking money for conditional cash transfers of that? And please, for the conditional transfers, we need a comprehensive independent audit on how the monies were disbursed. And also, let's review any interventionist scheme run before now. Even the government contract of clearing glass, the COVID-19 job, how were these things run effectively? That's how to run a government. It's not rocket science. Let's get to work.
Investigations, and more investigations. Let me start with the last story as well, Rufai, with regards to the two gentlemen who were asked to, who were relieved of their jobs, one with the FCCPC and the other with the BPE, Mr. Babatunde Rikura and Mr. Alex Oko, respectively. In addition to the things you mentioned, and I think it's important that when public officials or people who serve the country have done so really well, they ought to be celebrated, because we don't just point our fingers on bad eggs. It's important to also celebrate and acknowledge those who've done really well. I'll talk about Mr. Irukera because he was he changed the face of the FCCPC in terms of being accessible and consistently giving updates. He was accessible even to, on his social media platforms. You would see that he would try to respond whenever you reported a consumer infraction or the rights of a consumer wasn't well protected. I won't forget what happened during the COVID-19 lockdown when some supermarkets hiked the price of face masks and hand sanitizers, and the FCCPC clamped down on some of these operators and supermarkets to ensure that they were not ripping off Nigerians. These were some of his key achievements or key things that we would most remember him for. And then he was very gracious in accepting the decision by the presidency on his
Let's read our first. I was saying, Betta Edu, let's give her the doubt. Let's see what is happening if people are behind, if corruption is people are back against her. What is the truth? Nigeria, I don't really trust the system again. It's so pathetic. Okay, it's pathetic of what's happening in Nigeria. So let's give Africa plus. Let's face the EFCC now. The Zenith Bank CEO and other bank operators, they have been arrested of what maybe the confession of Edu. I don't know yet. So we are watching and waiting. As soon as we do that, we will let you guys know. We will talk about it. We will make sure we analyze many things. Okay. Let me see. I know Betta Edu is still on, but I have to. There was a bit I wanted to play for this night. After the EFCC drill this night, but I can't see right now. Okay, I can't see right now. But anyhow, it is. Let me see. I can see it. If I see it, I play it. If I cannot see it, no problem, guys. We do that things, all right? Anyway. Oh, I saw a post today of how people are now enjoying Astro Rock.
His importance is because also find out the people who collected the money. Where did this money go? Humanitarian affairs and poverty alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu. Now, there have been, while some of I mentioned earlier that Governor of Imo State and also the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Chief Hope Uzodimma, had said that the president was right, supported the president, saying that this was a confirmation of zero tolerance to corruption in this administration. Others like Senator Ali Ndume and other civil rights organizations like Huriwa, Serap have come out to commend the effort or the move of the president to suspend the minister pending whilst the investigation is ongoing. However, we did also see some posters in support of Dr. Betta Edu, and some people saying or crying that it's a witch hunt. Oh, it's because she wanted to expose some people. That's why they're trying to tie her down. And this narrative must stop in Nigeria if we're going to build a better nation. I'm saying this because yesterday, I emphasized the fact that the investigations are still ongoing, and until the conclusion of the investigation, she's innocent until proven guilty. However, it was still highlighted as long as the memo was original, then there was an infraction there already. So in that instance, not very innocent. But in terms of what the motive was, whether indeed it was done out of ignorance, that will then come out during the investigation. Now, another reason why the investigation is important is because beyond Dr. Betta Edu herself, we must also find out the people who collected the money. Where did this money go to? Who were the beneficiaries? One of such that's come out, of course, is the new Planet Project Limited, which has Mr. Olubumi Tunji Ojo as shareholder, and also Abimbola Tunji Ojo, which I believe is his relative, as shareholders, and a number of people, even though they desisted from being shareholders from 2019. However, like you mentioned, Rufai,
they desisted from being directors.
Right, being sorry, not shareholders, directors in 2019. Now, as you've mentioned, they still remain shareholders. The reason why this has come up and is quite important for us to dissect is because a number of people know how this works. And I'm not saying that this is what happened in this instance, but it's happened in other places where government officials set up special organizations or SPVs or just organizations that they are backing and award frivolous contracts to them or give them preferential treatment without due process being followed. This is a practice that has happened again and again under different administrations. And so we know how government officials wouldn't put their names right there, but they'll back certain companies or have private arrangements with certain companies and give them undue advantage in accessing certain funds or getting certain contracts. If we're going to fight corruption in this country, we must also fight such underhanded practice, especially by government officials. Again, I'm not saying Mr. Tunji Ojo has done this in this case until the investigation reveals what truly occurred. However, it is suspicious because why is this coming? What is the remit of the organization, and what kind of service did they render to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation? What was it that they were supposed to do? Were they are they a money distribution organization to help to distribute the amount of money to the most vulnerable of people? Now, going back to what I said about witch hunt, and I saw one poster, if it's real, about from South, some groups from South, and saying she's our daughter, we're proud of her. I think that is very interesting, because when you look at the matter on ground, the 4 states that were meant to be beneficiaries of the grants for vulnerable groups are Akwa Ibom, Cross River, where she comes from, Lagos and Ogun State. This money was meant to go to support vulnerable groups in these 4 states, and this money was diverted. Rather than coming up with ridiculous statements about how you're proud of her, it's a witch hunt, you should be incensed that the money that was meant for the most vulnerable people in your state was diverted. It should be a cause of concern that people who are suffering, some people who have gone to bed hungry, the most vulnerable in society, were deprived of government funding because someone chose to divert that money by giving contracts that do not make sense. That's what you should be fighting for. One human being is not better than another person because of the position they hold. So if you're saying you're in support of what the minister allegedly did, then you are saying that to the hundreds of beneficiaries or thousands in your state, they don't matter. That they are less, and it doesn't really matter if they were cheated of what belongs to them because you are proud of your daughter. We should end this narrative in this new administration, because we keep focusing on the government when it comes to anti-corruption. But it starts with every Nigerian, every individual. If you're supporting acts of corruption under the guise of she's our own, she's our daughter, then we'll never move forward. If you are clouded by the fact that this person is our own, so don't talk to her, then you should be really ashamed. When a child steals, the mother a good parent will reprimand and ensure that they are more interested in the well-being of the child rather than trying to protect and bring in more disrepute to the family. And this is what I'm calling for. What we should be hearing from this state is that she should cooperate with the officials, with EFCC, with the presidency, and undergo thorough investigation so that it acts as a deterrent to other children from that state to behave well when they get on the national stage to given a position. Beyond the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, this is another call. to the presidency. I don't believe that this is the only ministry where this is happening, or the minister is the only one who is perhaps, if found guilty, culpable. I believe this is an opportunity, having found out that these things happen, which I'm sure is not a surprise to many people, to then demonstrate further, as Governor Hope Uzodinma has said, that this is a demonstration, and Ajuri Ngilali, that this is a demonstration that the president is committed to anti-corruption. Audit other departments and agencies, especially those that cater to or give grants to people. The Ministry of Women Affairs, the Department of SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, the Ministry of Works. These departments that hitherto are called juicy, in quotes, I put that in inverted commas, because there's a lot of largesse and there are many projects awarded, projects that don't have head or tail, or where you cannot trace or find out what the audit process or procurement process was. Ministries like that should come under scrutiny. Let's put some fire, let me put it that way, under these ministries so that they perform and they act. The reason why there must be consequences to action if we're going to build a better nation is that there must be seen to have, infractions like this must be seen to have punitive measures. Let's investigate these departments. Let's understand what's really going on. Let's have it more transparent. And again, I bring this forward. Whenever there's a project that addresses the needs of people in Nigeria, that's very obvious. Like what happened with the presidency giving allocations of bags of rice to senators and House of Representative members, and now we have issues around that. Let there be a portal where Nigerians can directly report any infraction. Did you get it or did you not get it? Very simple. Show working. Very easy. Let's have a portal where the people, the citizens, can actively hold their public officers to account. If not, we'll continue to have infractions like this. And then I'm hoping that following the investigations, the Ministry of Finance will tighten the process of contracts being awarded or monies being disbursed by said ministries or all ministries. Very critical. The reason we must continue to talk about this is because we are hoping that we will build stronger institutions where corruption is difficult to do or to propagate in any ministry, department, or agency. Move on to our next story. 100 million naira has been awarded against the federal government in favor of the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin.
I love the analysis there. She's very correct in the analysis. I'm impressed in the analysis. Well, what if EFCC? And then for me, I have said before, maybe it's which ones. I cannot say. I cannot really say. Until we are able to find out. Okay. Let's see. If you can prove herself, it's okay. Maybe she's made some mistakes. It's possible. Maybe she stepped on some toes, and it is possible. I said that woman, the Halima, that removed 44 billion naira under 4 days. She opened this gate now. She's the one that said it's what Betta Edu. She's want to take the money, that's why she did it. You move the money to your personal account. 44 billion under 4 days. Who knows how much that one has been stealing? This is just mind blowing. Seriously, man. It's just mind blowing. Yeah. It's just mind blowing. It's unbelievable what's happening in Nigeria. They are doing things with impunity. They don't care. These are just happening in that country. God help Nigeria. God help that country, man. God help Nigeria. That's what I would say. God help Nigeria, man. Anyway, there's so many things to, so many things. So many things to say. Is it these people, Nigeria, the way they are still is interesting. I heard the governor, the first state governor, NFL, trillions of naira, billions, trillions of naira. What are you doing in the money? It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. Nigeria, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? That is the question. I thought I sit down and say, trillions of naira, only you want man for what? What I do with the money? That means other people are stealing their own different bodies, ministries, parastators, stealing, they are borrowing, they are stealing, they are borrowing, they are stealing. Look, the solution is let the head be good. If the head is good, it will close the system. If the head is good, this problem will be solved at least 60%. The stealing nature in Nigeria is done too much. So they told me one time, we're just talking, they say, look, man, they said in Abuja, they talk about billions now, no millions again. I said, seriously? They say, yes, man. He said, man, they talk of billions now, not millions again. I said, wow. That was, I think, early last year, 2 years ago. He said, seriously? Say, yes, man. We don't talk of millions, contract. No. He said, we talk of billions now. And this is what is happening. Because see, billion, 5 days, 44 billion was moved to personal accounts. The movement, the banks that are involved, who signed it? Who authorized it? How? Okay, that means if I'm a director now, let's assume, or maybe I'm a minister or somebody, I can just go to the place, I'll just move the money, put in my account. Is that how it goes over there? I see that to just be imagining. So I make steal trillions of naira. It's wow. That means we just go there. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. That means the system they need to work. They need to change the system. They need to change everything. Everything needs to be changed. Everything needs to be changed, man. Everything. This is unbelievable. Is unheard of. It's unheard of. It's unheard of. And is insanity. Anyway, let me just quickly go to Wiki and Fubara. They are still fighting their own secretly. Those people, let me just, as I've said before, it's not, I don't care about them, I care about Rivers people. Let me just, let's visit them, okay? Let's visit them. That's what I would say, let's visit them. They're not tired. They're not tired. The House of Assembly, I thought those people, they resigned now. I thought they resigned. I thought they was carpet. That means your seat is gone. Now, there's a twist right now. Let's listen to that. I just saw it. I'm going to listen to them. Let me just play it here. Okay. The speaker, the House of Zenith to Wiki, they are saying they should submit the budget. Let's watch and see what that guy or his name, footballer, will do. Let's watch and see what he's going to do, man. I don't know. Let's just watch it. Let's listen to this.
2022, 2023. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, the committee has not been able to conclude its work. Mr. Speaker, you will agree with me that last year there was a lot of activities before honorable members, where our tribunals were sent to Abuja, and after which to Lagos. So honorable members have been running around following up with their court cases in the court, and we've not been able to reach out to a lot of agencies and parastatals for them to come and present their report. So, Mr. Speaker, we have been trying to see how we can conclude, especially that of the judiciary. We've not gotten a report from them. So we plead that, Mr. Speaker, we avail us with more time so that we can conclude this report in the shortest time and report back to the House.
Namely, the River State Traditional Rulers Amendment Bill 2024. Mr. Speaker, a bill for a law to amend the River State Traditional Rulers Law number 4 of 2015 and for other matters connected thereto. Mr. Speaker, this bill has 3 clauses, Mr. Speaker, when passed into law. This bill may be cited as the Rivers State Traditional Rulers Amendment Bill 2024. Mr. Speaker, by your leave, may I lay the bill at the table.
The Rivers State Advertisement and Use of State-Owned Property Prohibition Repeal Bill number 1 of 2024. A bill for a law to repeal the Rivers State Advertisement and Use of State-Owned Property Prohibition Law number 7 of 2022. Mr. Speaker, this bill have two clauses that, if passed, may be cited as the Rivers State Advertisement and Use of State-Owned Property Prohibition
regarding this stuff is
number 1 of 2024.
Is the budget to be resubmitted again, okay? I don't want to say all these are not fully
Let me also remark here
stuff. So
that we're in
I don't understand this.
2024.
They said they resigned from PDP to APC.
The medium-term expenditure framework
well, Fubara and your people, Rivers people go and sort it out.
for Rivers State has not been presented to this August Assembly by His Excellency the Executive Governor of Rivers State.
I think on the last note, I'm not
Because it
the
has
full
not been
video.
presented,
Let's
this
just
House has not been able to look at it.
listen to interview with Katutemi. Before then, let me play this short video. These guys are grooving.
Prepare them gun. Prepare them gun. Prepare them gun. Prepare them gun. Okay.
Right from the villa.
Evelyn, prepare them gun. 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 Okay.
You know, Nigeria is like it should be.
Evelyn, prepare them gun. 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 Okay. Evelyn, prepare them gun. 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 Okay.
That's Nigeria. It's like, well, let's listen to Tommy, okay? Just had the interview with Arise TV. Let's just listen to him. I hope you guys know that it's not the news is on me again, as I say. Okukwe has left the Labour Party. Well, so many things, but I don't really care about that anyway. So I don't really care about that, man. Anyway, let's listen to Peter Obi. To what for me.
Stated that his boss will contest the 2027 election, warning that the opposition must unite behind him if they intend to unseat the APC. With the news of mergers gaining momentum, the Coalition for United Political Parties, CUPP, have rejected Atiku as the rallying point of the opposition parties in Nigeria ahead of the 2027 general election. Well, joining us on the show this morning to discuss the possibility of a merger of the opposition parties and how it can be achieved is Professor Pat Utomi, convener of the National Consultative Front, NC Front. Good morning, Professor Utomi, and thank you so much for joining us today on the morning show.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be able to join you.
Excellent. All right, so during my introduction, I'd talked about a few things, just giving a little background into what the situation on ground is, with a possible merger as talks are apparently going on amongst some key opposition party members as to coming together to go against the APC come 2027. The first question I'd like to ask you, Professor Tommy, this one is it too early to begin to talk about elections 2027 whilst not talking about building a formidable opposition in order to check this present administration? That's the first question I'd like to ask you today.
You literally took the answer I was going to give to the question you were going to ask out of my mouth. I think it's inappropriate to even talk about 2027. We're talking about governing. We're talking about a working democracy. Nigeria is not a working democracy. And part of the effort of building a strong and viable political party is to make our democracy work first and foremost before people begin to think about another election. The problem with Nigeria is that we've thought in terms of elections. You go through a mess that is called an election and say, okay, let's wait for the next one. No, that's not how countries grow and develop. Countries grow and develop, first of all, by founding political parties. I can say without any feeling of wrong that we don't have a political party in Nigeria today. What we have managed to couple together since 1999 have been platforms for machine politics, where the game is about just grabbing power, rightly or wrongly, and sharing spoils. As a friend of mine, an American political scientist who's in the middle of a very interesting book, he's still writing it, probably will finish it later this year. I'm actually inviting him to come and speak about it in Lagos in a few weeks. And he makes the argument that what has gone wrong with Nigeria's democracy is that in 1999, somehow the politicians managed to build a kind of coalition that enabled them keep out the military, but essentially put themselves in a position to share the spoils, and did not think of Nigeria and governing to make Nigeria better. So election after election, yes, we've kept some cycle going, and politicians have been able to go and share spoils, but Nigeria has gotten worse and worse and worse. And the Nigerian people are so unhappy that the effect has been violence all through. He does a remarkable comparison with the opposite, which is what has happened to India. If you look at India in 1999, it was a lot more violent in terms of rejection of the ways. But a developmental state has emerged in India. Their politics, the coalition, has been about making India work for Indians. And as India has done that, it's become wealthier, more stable. Violence has receded and receded in India, while it's rising and rising and rising in Nigeria. So one of the major reasons why this is happening is that Nigeria did not manage to build a political party. It built these coalitions of politicians trying to share spoils in a rentier state. And it has neglected the people of Nigeria, the development. So the first thing is, can we have a real political party? And that's where our conversation begins. How do we build a political party that is clear in its sense of where Nigeria should be, the role that everybody should play in getting Nigeria there, how political parties recruit and socialize people and mobilize the whole populace to focus on these ideas about how progress comes to everybody. And that then leads to true progress, as we see in India. I've spoken very frequently about a simple difference between a Nigerian political party and, say, the ANC, for all you care. Omano Edigije, Omano, has written this book on developmental state in South Africa and now in Nigeria. And Omano keeps making the point that the Nigerian state is in the developmental state. And it's true. It is just a coalition of politicians to share greedy sharing of spoils of office. Because of that, the neglect of development, the triumph of corruption in Nigeria has just made it difficult for Nigeria to develop. Look how South Asia has now emerged, overtaking even Southeast Asia of the miracle economies in terms of sheer economic development and growth. Because the Indian state, in the nature of the political coalitions that emerged around the same time as we were becoming a new democracy, have focused on the Indian people and growing India. And you will see fascinating videos talking about where India is, where it will be, and all of that. In Nigeria, our politicians don't even have a care for the Nigerian people and where they are going. And I give you an example. My own book, which is out next month, in interviewing senior civil servants, a former head of service says to me, civil servants do nothing. Head of service. They do nothing because the political parties don't come with a program. If a political party comes to power, it should have a program that defines what the permanent secretary literally will do in 4 years. How to hold him accountable for delivering a premium on performance for implementation, all the way to the level 8 officer. And this becomes the basis. And I added to this, if we have a tripartite approach to development, which involves the private sector, the public sector, and the so-called private development agencies or the NGO sector, what we will see is a continual state of checks and balances and innovation for growth and development, which is what has happened more or less in India. But in Nigeria, all you hear about is they shared that money, they took that money, they take that money. Yeah.
Okay, Prof. Good to see you again, and I'm so thankful you're looking well and you're doing well. How are you? How's your health? And
thank you so much.
I'm so happy, you're back here.
Health is kicking up.
It is well. Yes. It is well. You're a fighter. You'll continue to fight and you'll win over the challenges of health. And I wish you well and Happy New Year.
Amen.
But Prof, real quickly.
Happy New Year.
You were here a couple of years ago and we theorized about the Nigerian political space. In fact, you got a bunch of people together, the usual suspects, the Lisagbakomas of this world, and a couple of people, and they said, oh, we're having something mega new. But nothing materialized. And you pivoted with the Labour Party, and you guys ran a stellar campaign. You didn't win. The same forces, the centripetal and centrifugal forces of, our political system did still take over and reign supreme in the end. And we saw how the political process went. The question is, how do you think that this, your joining together of forces for sort of this risorgimento of some sort you want, this rising again, how do you think it will work this time if it didn't pan out then? And I want you to analyze for me your very good friend's government, because you're very friendly with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Analyze these cases of corruption, allegations of corruption, 40 billion, all of that. What's your say about all of this? And do you still speak to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? When last did you talk to him? Do you still advise him?
I've not spoken with him in 5 years, actually.
Okay.
And that's a statement about my perception of many things, including the way the APC evolved. The truth of the matter, the naked truth, is that what is happening in Nigeria is inevitable, because the Nigerian state is not constructed to serve the Nigerian people. It's constructed to be bargaining between politicians looking to share booty. Because that is what it is, you will have all this corruption, because it's like, oh, you've taken your own, you don't want me to take my own. The Nigerian people don't matter in these conversations. How did we do the last time? Well, it's kind of you to say that we put all of this together and then we lost election. I still completely reject the idea that we lost election. That's not true. But Nigeria is what it is.
So you're not confident about the court?
The movement that became...
So you're not confident about the court?
It was a farce. Total farce.
The Supreme Court judgment was a farce?
I said they are a farce. Nigerian court system, complete farce.
Are you not impugning on the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court judgment was a farce? Was it a farce? Is that what you're saying?
My opinion, as Patu told me, it was a farce. But let's just put that aside and go on. There's a legitimacy crisis in Nigeria. Look, I'm around the world. I'm around the planet. I'm talking in very important places around the world on a, I don't know, so frequently. I know what they think of what happened in Nigeria. So that's not a disputable matter at all. And I've cited continuously what the EU mission said about the elections, what NDI said, what IRI said, but I don't want us to go back into the elections. That's not the issue for now. I'm just trying to make the point that the last elections, we're not about Peter Obi, by the way. The Nigerian people had become so frustrated, so fed up with the nature of the way Nigerian politicians carried on, that when Peter Obi said the right things, it resonated and drove the emergence of a movement that generally got called the obedient movement. Around the world, Nigerian diaspora, and if you look at the resurgence of many of the success stories of the 20th century, they had a diaspora base from post-Meiji Restoration Japan. Japanese diaspora was pretty important in that happening. The Indian diaspora has been very significant in what is going on in India. Chinese diaspora had its place, and so on and so forth. So the Nigerian diaspora rallied very strongly around the fact that this gentleman was saying a few things right. And a campaign like Nigeria hasn't seen in a long time happened. And it was deliberately sabotaged, whatever you say about it. And the point remains, how do you go forward when you meet this? You've got to realize and take advantage in trying to save Nigeria that the majority of this country is young. A significant part of our population is under 25. It is fed up. It is looking for something new, but it's also trapped. That's the most dangerous thing about where we are. This generation is trapped in their values. Look, why is Nigeria not growing? Why are multinationals leaving and all of that? If your politicians are constantly cheating at every turn, they cheat at elections, they cheat in using of public resources, the U.S. Treasury Secretary is found in economy class, but the Nigerian minister would charter a plane to go to somewhere next door. In a very, very poor country, you realize there's a complete disconnect between the political actors in Nigeria and the people of Nigeria. So when that is the state that you have, what do you expect to happen with how you move forward with this population that is the majority? You've got to come to some sense that at a point, they won't be able to hold down the majority anymore. And it might be very costly for them. Very, very costly personally for them. So you will begin to see a breaking. See, look at the tracks we're traveling. We are traveling to Somalia, where we should be traveling through India to somewhere else right now. The analysis of this American political scientist friend of mine, who, like I said, will be in Lagos in a few weeks to share some of his thoughts on this, basically looks at a Nigerian scenario where, you know, there will be increased violence in Nigeria, and as an expression of frustration, and we've seen it become universal in Nigeria, whether it started from Boko Haram, kidnapping in the southeast, the Niger Delta militancy, and all of that.
Prof, would you respect, sir? Would you respect, sir? A lot of your critics say you are just theorizing. That this was the same you that supported this same evolution of Buhari and APC. In fact, you are even a member of the APC. That you are part of them. It's just that you've turned a new leaf. Now, that's what a lot of your opponents and your critics say. That this was the exact way. I mean, I think the last time you were here, you talked about Kaplan too, making this prediction, you know, that things were going to... That we all know this.
Yes.
But the theorizing does not solve the problem. That's what a lot of your critics will say.
Aren't you seeing it happening?
Yes, but...
But are you not seeing it happening? Is it... So what's the point of theory?
But they say you are part of the
how
class.
it leads to action.
You are part of that class. That's what they're saying.
Class that did what?
You're part of that bourgeoisie elite class in this country. That's what they're saying. And that's why they say all of this is just theory.
But how? Let them show how. Because you see...
You were a member of the APC. You played a prominent role in the APC. Didn't you, Prof?
Yeah. I played a role in the founding of... I've played a role in the founding of the APC in the expectation that we could create a difference. But we just absorbed some of the other people from PDP and created a worse PDP. And I walked away from the very beginning. I have never been active in the APC in any shape, form, position, anything. I was never.
But you tried running for governor in Delta. You tried attending party primaries for governor in Delta.
Yes.
That was an aspiration.
Yes, and what happened?
And they changed the venue. They showed you politics.
People argued.
They changed the
No,
venue.
they didn't show me politics. By the way, that story going around, no, that's not true, actually. That story is not correct.
Okay,
but
tell me
they
the
created
correct
those
story.
kinds of stories. I showed up. Yeah, the correct story is that there was a meeting called, the one retired general, Onoja, I think, Lawrence Onoja, was chair of the event. They came in there. It was a premeditated, predetermined scam. And I said it to them, and literally walked away from there. We had been to the venue, so it wasn't a question that the venue was not known to me. And I was even going to go back there, but some of the people there said, don't make a fool of yourself to go to this place. We have seen what they've done here. Onoja was a disgrace at this meeting. I will say it in public and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And that was what happened. You know, there was no plan to have an election. There was no democracy. I wrote letters and letters to show what happened. Even Adams Shomole said he would tell me one day the truth of what happened. I said, fine, one day tell me. But you see, Nigerian politicians don't believe in democracy. That's what I proved. I needed to prove it. Once I proved it, I just walked away. I walked away completely. And I wrote a book about it. You probably have read Why Not? You know, and you've got to, you're not going to just go and sit in one place and shout and complain. You cannot, you know, say that somebody like me who went in there, saw it happen, hasn't a superior position on somebody who is complaining in one corner. No. Do something before you die. Ghanaians used to sing to Jerry Rollins.
All right.
And the idea of trying to do something and finding that it is run by people who are inappropriate for where the country should be going is a very important discovery path. So you cannot group somebody who goes in and says, this is not what we want to be doing as part of that group. That's not how groups function.
All right. Thanks, Professor Tommy. I'd like to ask you with regards to this proposed merger or perhaps contemplated merger. In the event that it does work out and they come together to form a strong opposition party, one united, who should be leading this party? I mean, in my introduction, I talked about the fact that Daniel Bwala of the PDP had said that everyone should rally round Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who would be 80 years old, by the way, in 4 years' time. He'll be 81, but at least it's in November of 2027. So 80 years old if he does become president. Or should they be looking at a more vibrant, younger person like a Peter Obi, and the obedient movement has been able to galvanize and lead? Who should people be looking at, or who should the party be looking at as a front runner for that new merger?
I think it is too early to be talking about who. Let's talk about how, what we can do to make Nigeria work. When the time comes, the people, and that's why it's called democracy, will determine who. I can tell you with a good sense of satisfaction that in the last week or so, I've had significant conversations with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. I've had significant conversations with Engineer Rabiu Kwankwaso. I've had conversations with Mr. Peter Obi. And my view is very clear on this matter. Let's build a great party that can show the way for Nigeria. When we then build it, the people who, from the social movements that come together, in addition to the political parties that come into this one stock, subscribing to certain values, subscribing to ideologies of how you make a nation happen, those people will determine who amongst those who seem interested can go forward. This is what our country does need. This is what it must have. But it should not be about some individual advertising that they are the ones who should or not. Nigerian people will determine that when the time is right. But let's all agree that Nigeria is what? The trouble, the saving. And let those values, those strategies, those ideas that can help us create an entrepreneurial people's capitalism that can take us away from this elite struggle to consume the little that is, coming out of oil, to a broadly growing economy the way India is happening, because they are applying themselves, and we can make progress. There are too many people who complain and point fingers and say this about that person, about that, and they do nothing. But they just, sit there and whine. Let's get people who are thinking, who would like to see Nigeria get somewhere, sit down, put down the ideas about what will make Nigeria make progress. Is it not a shame? Are we not ashamed to see the way Nigeria is, the poverty in the land, the anger in the land, with all the endowments of this country, where 70% of the doctors of color in America are Nigerian born? Why is this happening to our country? We've got to accept that the political class is responsible for this failure and begin to work at renewing that class.
Okay, Professor Tommy, you were a young man when you first had a close contact with government over 40 years ago. So you are about those few Nigerians that have seen it all. These things you're talking about was talked about over 40 years ago. And this has still been the problem. The elite class, we remember what happened in the 70s into the 80s and all of that, then the military taking over. And nothing has changed. At some point, you said you decided to even join them. But the same people you joined and you helped create the APC is the same party we are complaining that stinks today. The same Bola Tinubu that was a very close friend of yours is the same Bola Tinubu that is president today that you are saying, oh, we need a new party to challenge. And I was shocked that you said you had not spoken to Bola Tinubu in 5 years because I felt you guys were really chummy. But, you know, that things have just gone down the drain. So why is it that we keep going back in this cyclical cycle of stinking thinking in our country? Because it doesn't move forward. 40 years after going to 50 years, the same things you complained about. I was reading Lasisi Olaguju's article on Monday, was saying, as at way back 1951-52, they were citing cases of corruption in governmental agencies. And we are still hearing of it over 70 years today, unabated. So why are we going through this? And if there's anything you want to look back on, how is it that this new party you are ensuring, that you are trying to start up, how are you going to ensure that it's not going to be like the APC you are now condemning today? Because that was how the APC came with a lot of hope. Say Baba was a rallying song in 2015. Oh, people loved President Muhammadu Buhari. But a couple of years down the line, it has gone down the drain again.
Well, I think that there is enough evidence to explain why we are where we are. And that is why it is important to recognize that one of the big problems in Nigeria is that the Nigerian political culture has become very anti-intellectual. So it seems unable to examine what its problems are and try and rework its position. Back in the 1950s, you could see massive growth and development out of what Robert Melson and Howard Wolpe chose to call essentially competitive communalism. In the struggle between the regions to bring about growth for their region, you see the massive development that took place. The jump in industrialization in Nigeria is a phenomenal one that should be studied and studied again. From what happened between 1957 and the early 60s with manufacturing in Nigeria. And then what happened? A number of things. One, the convergence of soldiers and oil. That thesis on the convergence of soldiers and oil led to what my friend Richard Joseph calls bureaucratic prebendalism. This concept of the big man at the top handing out prebends, the turning upside down of the Nigerian constitution, which prevented a federal structure from bringing development and progress the way it brought between 1957 and 1965. Because of the tensions in the West and all of that, led us down a path in which corruption has become so norm that there's a generation that doesn't even know that there was a time Nigerians, even though there were bits of corruption, and there's corruption everywhere, but you hold people accountable, arrest those who are corrupt, try them, jail them, create systems that make the possibilities for corruption much less. I tell you, I was as part of the research for this book that I was talking about, talking to one former due process person, and I was talking about the civil service, and he says to me, civil servants, what do they have to? They own most of the houses in Abuja. They got to a point where basically what they do is look for how to game the system. And so we damaged the basis for creating wealth, the competitiveness that leads to economic development and growth. And this has come through in the way that our country has gone forward. If we can sit and talk to one another and recognize where things went wrong, if we can have a constitution that goes back to where we were in 1960s, more or less, in terms of the sensitivities and sensibilities of the ground norm, we can then say to ourselves, here is how to ensure that a kind of public service that can implement the ideas within this new arrangement, this new structure, can proceed. And believe me, I am confident that you will see progress. And I'd like to give an example. It's not so true that when things go wrong, they don't get better. Malaysia's story. Look, when we had the Nigerian Civil War, Malaysians were killing each other on the streets of Kuala Lumpur. They had these race riots in 1969. But what happened? Look at the Mahathir Mohamad story and how Mahathir, as a young minister, criticized the then prime minister about the direction the country was traveling. He was immediately expelled from the party, of course, removed from the cabinet. He went and wrote a book, The Malay Dilemma. The thing that book drove led to the resignation of Tun Abdul Razak on as prime minister. Mahathir came back into the party, eventually became prime minister, and basically pulled the Malaysian elite together and literally said to them, look, I want everybody to sit in that room and figure out where we go from here. Because it is best for everybody to be inside the house, pissing out, and for some to be outside the house, pissing in.
All right.
The result, the new economic policy and the story of Malaysia. So I think it is possible to do it. We just have to have people who are serious about doing it, who are committed. You look back and you see what has happened to our country. There are Nigerians who have made sacrifices continually.
Yes.
And we can find those Nigerians to sacrifice for making this country work.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Patutomi, and thanks for just sharing that message that it is certainly possible. It's not impossible to turn a nation around, even though it's gone through difficult cycles of leadership. It's very, very possible. Thank you for your time this morning.
Yeah, I probably played that. That is inspiring, man. Yeah. Patutomi, I like his commentary, okay? That was why I probably played that. Guys, this is Nigeria for you. This is our country. We have nowhere to go, really. I mean, even if those of us in diaspora, we have nowhere to invest our country, okay? So we all have to join hands together to make it work, okay? Not just, look, this is what is happening around you. I have said, let's look at the good side of things, okay? And take the best and make use of it, okay? Although the country will say, I'm not in a position, I'm not in power, what do I need to do? Let's just be talking and speaking. There was something I posted. There was something I posted. I saw it, I posted it, okay? I saw it, I posted it. I believe most people posted it too. Even on my platform, somebody asked, is this case still on? I told the guy, look, just post it. I don't know much about the case, but no, I believe when you speak, people talking, things will get better. Just now, I saw that the police that were holding people in hostage, they left the place. As I was going through a few minutes ago, I saw the person, because people were treating it, they were talking about it. Police have no option. I think people down to leave the place. So this is what I'm saying. We should, if you can talk, you talk. If you have your Facebook, people talking. If you have your TikTok, people talking. If you have your Instagram, people talking. Let's make the country right. All these things I'm saying, I'm hearing, people try bigotry, ethnicity, religion. We should try to put a halt to it all. Nigeria is blessed. We have mineral resources. We have many things to make Nigeria work. We have the human power to make Nigeria work. We have the people to make Nigeria work. We have people that are willing to do it. Yes, I know few people are trying to destroy the system. They are stealing. They don't care about the masses. Well, I know, but we should keep it on. We should not give up. We should not lose hope. Okay, this is what I'm going to say this again. We should not give up. Don't lose hope. Okay. And thank you for watching. Please, I would like you guys share, make comment. Like right now, I'm on Twitter. Follow my Twitter page. My Twitter handle, X handle, or rather. YouTube channels, about 2 right now, on Facebook. Man, that's how it is. Let's make Nigeria work, okay? And we can make it work. We can make it work. Oh, make it work is your eye. Don't expect other people to make it work. And those people that are doing this stuff, they are not many, okay? They are not up to 0.5% of us. So we can make this happen. All right. Don't just believe all Nigerians are the same. No, no. People are different. People have the goodwill to help to make Nigeria work. Okay. So guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless you. God bless Nigeria. Good night.